Hello everyone and welcome to January Delia as we venture through the fourth and final phase of Koto's plan in episode 11 of Inspectre. So we started off with a really easy explanation as to why Kotoko isn't worried about Rika interfering with the plan, and it's pretty simple. Basically, it's all going according to her plan, according to Kotoko, because Rika is basically only choosing the futures that lead to the least amount of people believing in Kotoko's stories, which is exactly what Kotoko wants Rika to do. Now the situation is kind of like once the penny drops, it's so simple to understand, but basically up until that point, you're kind of left scratching your head a little bit going, oh, now I get it, awesome. And basically, I love the fact that although Kotoko is trying to lure Rika into choosing those possibilities, the reason as to why she's trying to do that is to basically allow the core of the other stories / lies that Kotoko has actually presented already stays intact. So although Rika chooses a future in where, not many people believe in story A or story B, at least the premise of that story remains in the basically in the audience's mind. And that is what kind of leads us down to number 4. Phase 4 basically combines all of it together and helps us kind of strengthen the lie that Kotoko is presenting. Now, we also see a cool depiction of Korra running through the kind of alternative futures. And I love the fact that it's represented as branches. Yes, this has been done throughout the entire show already, but I really did like the kind of depiction of this, because it's kind of like Korra is running down one path while Rika is running down the other. We see it split off quite a lot, and it's almost like they're running parallel towards each other, but both lines basically resolve in different ways, but both different ways are in fact the desired outcome for both parties, unless Rika, she just runs to a dead end, which unfortunately, boo-hoo-hoo. Anyway, we also get this amazing shot of both Korra and Kotoko together, which again is just fantastic. I love the artwork on this, I love the kind of visual effects, I love the background as well. It looks amazing. Now, the reason why I like this so much is because it kind of shows both characters supporting each other, and it just proves that they are a team. Now, the boob comment that was made in this episode was actually quite funny, but they used it to explain as to how the detective recognized the fake character was Nanase just from her breast size. Yes, this was funny, and I loved how the public believed it, but come on. How did they? It was beyond me. I have no idea. It's ridiculous. It's meant to be a lie. And it's one of those lies that Kotoko has weaved in that just make no sense, but yet somehow do. However, this episode did a fantastic job of persuading the users of the wiki site of the outcome. And this comes from basically the core elements of the first 3 scenarios and how they were used to strengthen the fourth and final argument that Kotoko was presenting. Now, the way that they presented this and used these arguments to enforce and strengthen the fourth argument was actually really easy to understand and follow. It was much easier to understand than the previous stories that we've had, which, especially last episode, I kind of got quite lost, so I really do appreciate that. But here's how they linked. So basically, we have basically the note that the father left. So as we know, it was kind of like a note of resentment, and this helped to back up the fact that Nanase was all alone. Okay. Now, remember the fan that was kind of dressing up as Nanase and killing people as the Still Lady to basically kind of ease the sister of Nanase? Well, this was used to strengthen the fact that someone was actually doing the killing and it wasn't a supernatural being. And then obviously we've got the detective with the boob situation. Now, as the basic idea of story number 4 was the fact that Nanase actually got a double and basically killed that double off so she can live a secret life. That was what story 4 was all about. Nanase faking her own death using that double. But as a side note, this double looks nothing like Nanase. So when they kind of use that kind of, oh, Nanase was sat on the bench and she had nowhere else to go, she looked up and saw someone that looked just like her. I don't buy it. Not 1 second. This character, without makeup, does not look like her at all. And honestly, I just don't really get it myself. But anyway, they basically go with the story of Nanase was also the one who created this website, this wiki page that they're all on. And this was basically used to reinforce the fact that someone was actually rebutting the arguments that Kotoko has been presenting previously. As well as the fact is, the reason as to why she would create this wiki page was so that she could further emphasize the fact that she was dead. If there was a ghost that looked like her, resembled her, then that would further prove that Nanase was in fact dead, and no one would doubt that beyond a shadow. And honestly, I'm glad this is the angle that they took. It was a great showcasing of planning skills, and it makes sense. Well, for the most part. And I'm especially grateful for the fact that the use of the audience and as the characters in this episode, and seeing them trying to work and solve this mystery out themselves, was absolutely great. I love it when they involve like an audience, whether that's in the actual show or whether or not it's like us as the viewers. I personally just like that sort of use of skill. I also thought that there was some great animation and some next level music and sound effects in this episode. It all helped to make the show more entertaining. Now the scene with Korra versus Nanase was pretty cool. It was brutal, but awesome. I loved the ending shot. So this one basically, where it kind of was like Korra picked up the steel beam and was like, I am the executioner. Or, have a taste of steel. Now honestly, if he said something like that, I honestly wouldn't have minded. But Korra's character is quite serious. He's quite not talkative. So, you know, I can understand why they didn't go with like a cheesy line like that for its character. It makes sense, but still, an amazing shot nevertheless. Now, the thing that makes me scared and is really scary is to think that this, the Kotoko created, was all just a lie, as a fabrication, and just how easily it is believed by the audience within the show, as well as the fact is by the audience who's watching it, like me and you all together. This is just logic at its best, and it makes sense, and it could possibly be true. Saki was right, it is scary, but yeah, I just love the fact that this is what the angle they took, and it made sense, it was believable, and it was understandable. Those are some key things that I hoped and expected from this, and we got it delivered. So, overall, I thought this episode was great. It was a brilliant fourth segment, wonderful animation and music, and a fabulous showcasing of characters. Kotoko looked super happy when she was like, now, let the voting commence. She looked pretty menacing in that, but of course she had to be. She was creating these lies. She was basically becoming the antagonist, and what a good job she has done. You gotta give Korra some credit. I mean, poor lad. He's been ripped apart, he's been impaled, he's been stabbed. There was one cool scene where I absolutely loved from this, where Korra was impaled by the steel beam, went straight through him, and he was just like, and then just pow! It was awesome. He just like basically punched Nanase, and it was great. And speaking of Nanase, move that back over. I love the fact that in this episode, she was kind of going mental and crazy and berserk. I love the fact that it was all like spewing out, going crazy. She had like this weird whip arm thing going on. No idea what that was all about, but it was pretty cool. And overall, Nanase as a character is the reason as to why I started watching this series. It looked intriguing, so I jumped right into it, and this character's not disappointed me at all, and this episode is no exception. So, with all that being said, I really did enjoy it, and I can't wait to see how it concludes next week as we go into episode 12. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you hit that like button, really helps me out. Share it with a friend who also likes anime, see what they think, and let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section down below of the episode or the video that you're watching now. Anything is fine. Let's start discussion. Always happy to talk. Apart from that, I hope you'll have an amazing day, and I'll see you then. Bye bye for now.